Welcome to Living the Smarter Science of Slim, where we provide a scientifically proven lifestyle for long-term health and fat loss by eating more and exercising less, but smarter.
Eat smarter, exercise smarter, live better. I am so ready for that.
Hey everyone, Jonathan Bailor here. Just one of the trifecta that we have in the studio today. The trifecta being, of course, Dr. Kathy Patel, who's here because we've got awesome questions from the awesome Smarter Science of Slim support group. Kathy, say what's up to the good listeners.
Hey, what's up?
I love it. And of course, the Smarter Science of Slim mainstay, the queen of sanity. And you can tell that it's getting late because I'm getting loopy. Carrie Brown, how you doing?
Hey, Jonathan, how are you? Hey, Dr. Kathy. So
hey,
good to
we
have
have
you
some,
here again.
Yeah, oh, it's great to be here, Carrie.
In Pinktown.
That's wonderful. Pinktown, yes. Well, I'm wearing a pink sweater. I've been in the pink all day today. So, I have some questions. One from Lisa99, who is confused on the clogged and the unclogged. She looks at these unclogged folks, these folks who can eat anything, absolutely anything they want, and are skinny as rails. How do thin people who always have eaten insanely stay thin? What's the deal here?
Oh, that's the question. Yeah. So, I'll give a less serious answer and then a more serious answer. But the less serious answer is, you know how everyone has an uncle who smoked and ate like garbage and then never got lung cancer and died when he was 120? Obviously, not everyone has that uncle, but like you see,
we've all heard stories about people.
Yeah, we've all heard stories, right? So there are people in this world that smoke 2 packs a day and never get lung cancer, and then there's people who never smoke and get lung cancer. So there's some genetic blessings some people have that other people don't have. Now, what's actually taking place in these people who can eat whatever, and they don't gain weight? In the new book, I dig into a study that demonstrates this a little bit, but the high-level response is that they have a body which reacts to excessive calories by burning them rather than by storing them, and that's more a function of, again, what your hormonal balance is predisposes you to reacting to an abundance of calories differently. And these individuals, like often, to make gross generalizations, young men are often unclogged and older women are often clogged, not because they're bad or good, but there's think about it actually like a spectrum, right? A spectrum, you have on one end a very sort of androgenic environment, which means like an environment that wants to build muscle and wants to burn fat. And that is pretty characteristic. Like if you had to say adolescent male, okay, yeah, like a lot of adolescent guys just kind of eat, and many of them don't have problems, especially if they're not eating processed garbage. Like they could eat anything other than processed garbage, and pretty much universally, they won't have problems, pretty much. On the other end of the spectrum, for our listeners out there who are female and have been through menopause and have weight cycled, and there's just a totally different, that's a totally different hormonal profile, totally different. And as you shift from the unclogged to the clogged version of the spectrum, you're just seeing a change in hormonal profile, which then controls whether or not your body reacts to a surplus of calories, which doesn't mean you're eating too much. It just means your body might be burning less in reaction to what you're eating by storing those calories rather than speeding up and burning those calories. So the short answer is there is a difference in the hormonal makeup of unclogged and clogged individuals that predisposes unclogged individuals to burn excess calories and clogged individuals to store excess calories.
And it's very annoying, but it is what it is.
It's true.
And just like there's people who you put them in front of a calculus book and they can read it and they get it, and there's people who, calculus might be a bad example, drawing is a better example. I can't draw. I can't. Like I've tried and tried, not good at drawing.
I can't sew. I can't even sew a button on. Well, I can sew it on, but it won't work.
So I mean, that doesn't mean to say that like we're all, there's not necessarily, I mean, there are people who are, in the way you're born, right? Like if you have two parents who are more akin to storing fat than they are to burning fat, you will start off in a more quote-unquote clogged state. Actually, this is very true, and there's some really unfortunate studies where they do studies of women who are clogged when they're pregnant. So you have a hormonally dysregulated uterine environment, and they look at, actually, so I'm going to geek out of this because the study is found. I dig into this more into the new book. But they have studies where you'll take a woman who will have a child before she's diabetic, before she's hormonally clogged. And then, okay, so you've got child from a mother who was not diabetic. Same mother, same father, except the mother has become hormonally deranged and has a second child. And you can look at this across a large percentage or a large number of people, and without question, the child who was developing in a clogged uterine environment has a higher incidence of their own hormonal problems because of these like epigenetic and genetic expression issues that happen. So understand that there's, like we've talked about in previous podcasts, there's huge genetic elements to it, and those genetic elements have to do with your testosterone levels. That's also why you have some men who without, and women, who without ever lifting weights are muscular. Like, how does that work? They're just muscular. How does that work? Well, it's just because they have more hormones, which tell their body to burn more muscle, and there's people that have more hormones, which tell their body to burn more fat. So
it's annoying, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Jonathan. Well, Debbie wants to know about the new book. She read on Facebook that Smarter Science of Slim is going out of print, and the new book is coming out. What is it? Is Jonathan the author?
Yes, I am the author.
If Smarter Science of Slim is so darn good, which she believes it is, which I believe it is too, why is it going out of print?
Well, so some of these things I can't get into too much detail about because, again, when a movie's coming out, you can't give away the entire plot line. I am authoring the book, though, I can tell you that with confidence.
Hurrah!
Yay! I can tell you that I did not control the decision to take the Smarter Science of Slim out of print. There's many more people involved in the wonderful world that is the Smarter Science of Slim, and I, as much as I would like to control every aspect of it, cannot. So that's how I will answer that portion of the question. But I also will caveat that with, yes, I personally do think the Smarter Science of Slim is a very good book, and no, none of the information will be lost, meaning that it was not at all a part of the decision to have the Smarter Science Slim go out of print was like, let's get that information out of there. In fact, it was not at all the case. All the information that you find in the Smarter Science of Slim, none of it will be lost. All of it will exist, and then more in a much easier to digest, in a more applicable, and an even more scientifically validated fashion in the new book.
It's building upon.
It's building upon, and think about it this way. If you've ever heard maybe a favorite band or a favorite music artist, and you kind of hear about their first like small independent label album they came out with, and you listen to it, and it's like, yeah, that's them, but you can tell that it hasn't been like remastered and doesn't have all the Hollywood, I guess, like special effects they do to music production or whatever like that. And it was 4 songs, maybe 6 songs. It was like a demo track. It was still good. And in fact, it got him the opportunity to record a 16-track studio album with Universal. Anyway, so that's kind of what we'll have here is we'll take the 4-track Smarter Science of Slim and turn it into the 16-track awesome calorie myth. Why are you laughing? I think it's a good analogy.
I think it's wonderful.
I'm being mocked.
No, I'm just so
Jonathan.
excited about this because I think it's going to be, from what you said about it, it's going to be great, and it's going to be good to have this book really out there.
Yes.
In libraries and bookstores everywhere.
One
thing
I can, and I will let this cat out of the bag. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for it. The Smarter Science of Slim book was about, I think it was 60 or 65,000 words. The calorie myth will be longer than that, not because it's going to be like a pain in the butt to read, but because like some of Carrie's awesome recipes are in it. There's a lot of wonderful, much more practical information in it, but there's also just a bunch of brand new content in it. Probably about a small fraction of it will sound very familiar, but it will be refined, but almost we're talking 40 to 50,000 plus words will not look familiar to you. Like it is, for those who have read The Smarter Science of Slim, it will be an awesome addition to your bookshelf, and for those who have not read The Smarter Science of Slim, which is the much larger percent of America right now, it will hopefully be a great read for them and will help us to take this into the mainstream, which is what we need to stem the horrible, horrible, horrible obesity, diabetes, and all other kinds of ailments that are sweeping this country right now. So
I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Totally excited about this. I think it's going to be absolutely wonderful. So nothing is really going away.
Nothing's going away, and actually we have an awesome, like the people I'm working with over at Harper Wave, which is actually a brand new imprint over at HarperCollins, which has got a lot of weight behind it. Like I feel very honored to be working with them because they have done some amazing work. And just like if you're a singer and you can bring in a great, band, it's really going to make your music a lot better. I'm learning a lot, and I think we're all going to be smiling come January 2014. So at least I hope so.
That's neat. I'm really looking forward to it.
Do we have pre-order dates and all of that jazz yet?
We do not.
Okay.
The plan is still January 2014.
I bet you'll let people know.
Oh, yes, it will be no secret. It will be no secret.
Yeah.
But and that again, folks, everything can change, right? Like we're saying, the tentative plan is January 2014. That could change. This is all very, early. So
Stuff happens, but it's coming.
It's coming, and that's great.
And I mean, it's actually, to be clear, it's written. It's just being edited right now. So
Super. Well, Smith Eating Sane had another question, and this is an interesting thing that's been happening with her. She's always had strong legs, but she's really done very, very well on the Smarter Science System program. She's lost 2 inches around her waist, and she really is stronger and feeling a lot better and more energy, and just, doing a delightful program here. But she's finding that her legs are beginning to bulk up and look muscly, and she can no longer wear her skinny jeans.
Skinny jeans, I love it. So what's her name? Sorry.
Smith Eating Sane.
Smith Eating Sane. So the first thing I would say is, personally, this is personal. If that wasn't clear, I think having muscular legs on a female is the bee's knees, to use 1920s slang. I think it's awesome. I think it looks fantastic. So take that for what it's worth. If you don't like the way you look, then certainly there are things we can do about it. But if you do, don't let the skinny. What is the deal here? Everything I'm saying is getting.
Well, I don't know. We are older women, so we're allowed to say that Jonathan is so cute, and having him say that is just like, you should feel really good.
Well, no, I'm gonna actually. So here you go. Personal story. So my wife, wonderful best friend, like truly the best thing that's ever happened to me, as evidenced by the fact that when she is in her busy season as an accountant, I kind of fall apart because I'm like, oh, where's my wife? But her busy season is now over because we are recording this on April 17th. So yay, I got my wife back. Anyway, point is that when I met my wife, I actually...
It was her thighs?
No, that was the thing. She was actually built, when I met her, more like a cross-country runner. And I essentially helped her to start to look more like a sprinter, because I always found that, like, for me personally, I think... you want to see, look at, Jessica Innes or whatever, like she's the British triathlete gold medalist, like athletic sprinting body type to me is the way to go. So anyway, help my wife do that, and she loves it. I love it. I think if your skinny jeans are impairing your ability to stay sane, I'd say get rid of your skinny jeans, personally. But if your legs are really becoming what you perceive as to be too bulky, I would recommend scaling down the amount of resistance you're using, because you are potentially one of the individuals who is genetically predisposed to building bulky muscle, which many men would envy, but many women are not huge fans of that. Actually, the only other long relationship I've been in was a woman I dated when I was in college, and she was similar. She was a rower, and it was very easy for her to build muscle. She was actually qualified to be in the Olympics, and she had to modify her workout routine to be a little bit less heavy with the resistance, or she would develop bigger muscles than she wanted. So in your specific case, I would argue it's a good problem to have, but if you do not think it is such, lower the resistance of your workouts.
And just to be clear, most women will never experience that problem.
Ever. No, nor will most men, to be clear. Most men want that. If it was easy to build muscle, you would see a lot more muscular people.
Right.
Right? Because just go to any gym, look around. There's not many muscular people, and those are people that belong to a gym.
Right.
Like, it's not easy to build muscle for the vast majority of people. But if it happens to be easy for you, just use a little bit less resistance.
Wonderful. And one of the things that we talked about, that she and I talked about, was that, well, at least she going to have the power to get away from that saber-toothed tiger that's going to be chasing. And we both thought that was kind of funny. Well, Moose George has a good question here, and he reminded me today to bring this to the podcast. So,
I just want to give a shout out to Moose George. Moose George, you're the bomb.
I love you, Moose George.
Moose George.
You're just amazing.
Consistent awesomeness in the support group, so kudos to you, Moose George.
Yeah. Well, so, he says, I've heard two theories about intermittent fasting, both from several places. Theory one, intermittent fasting forces our body to adapt. In particular, it increases our sensitivity to insulin, the opposite of type 2 diabetes, which is a good thing. Theory two, intermittent fasting is bad for us because it causes relative insulin spikes, and we should instead be eating 4 to 5 times a day to keep our insulin levels at a steady state. Anyone know which theory is correct?
I have no clue.
I think this is an example where I think the reason there are these two competing theories is because they are both right. Let me give an example of what I mean. There is, for example, like, what is good is what is another example of this that we talk about? Crap, I can't think of it now. What is, oh, Kathy, help. I'm trying to think of another example where, like, people argue about it, but it's just because they're both good for some people. Oh, I'll give an example. What's good? Is eating fruit good? Yes, eating fruit is good. Is eating nuts and seeds good? Yes, eating nuts and seeds are good. However, there are some people who, if they eat a lot of fruit, gain weight. And it just doesn't work out well for them. Me as well. Then there's some people who, if they try to eat nuts and seeds, they go bananas and they can't control themselves and they eat way too many nuts and seeds. So, the question is not, like, which is the right one, it's which is the right for you. So with this, when it comes to eating frequency, I think we said this on an earlier podcast, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're not, and when you're hungry and you do eat, stay sane. I think trying to refine it any more than that would be counterproductive. And I don't think there is a right answer. I think it depends on who you are. And I think for me personally, I tried intermittent fasting. It was the closest thing I've ever come to becoming depressed. Like, I was cold all the time. I was, like, tired and grumpy. And it was just like, well, I don't care if this works. It is terrible. I don't like this. And I naturally eat every 3 hours or so. And the other thing I'd recommend to people is if you're training eccentrically, right after training eccentrically, I would not recommend intermittent fasting because you will have done enough good positive damage to your muscle that you do want consistent doses of muscle protein synthesis stimulating protein so that your muscles can repair. And again, always remember that when we talk about eating recommendations in the Smarter Science of Slim, we're talking about them in the context of an eccentric exercise routine. So the reason I don't recommend intermittent fasting in the Smarter Science of Slim is because it assumes eccentric training. And going for 16 hours without a dose of protein to help your muscles recover, when you're training eccentrically, I would argue does more harm than good.
I absolutely agree. Wonderful. Thank you, Jonathan. And thank you, Moose George.
Moose George!
We like Moose George.
What is Moose George's real name? Are we allowed to say it?
You know, I don't know.
Oh, Moose George, you're going to have to post some more information about yourself.
Yeah.
I think I know. I'm sorry, Moose. I think you've told me at one point, but I forgot.
Anyway,
well, I bet it's George.
I
bet
it's George.
Wow, we're
Poor
doing...
George.
He's like, my freaking name is Moose George. Of course it's George. That's awesome.
Okay.
It's the smarter science of Slim.
Now,
It's been a long day.
C. Pickburn has, I mean, this is a serious question, and this is something that a lot of us deal with. He says, I've been experiencing lots of joint pain in my big joints. I thought it was old age, but maybe not. I've been reading a lot about the side effects of high-protein diets and joint pain. Is anyone else experiencing this? Have you found a solution? Am I out of balance? Any ideas?
So, first thing I will say, obviously joint pain is not good. So if you're doing something that's causing joint pain, it's not a good idea. However, presupposed in that question was that the Smarter Science of Slim is advocating a high-protein diet. Eating between 100 and 200 grams of protein for a normally sized person is not a high-protein diet. A high-protein diet would be more than that. So the first thing I would say is also the protein recommendations that are made in the Smarter Science of Slim are always couched in the context of being secondary in importance to non-starchy vegetables. And this is all part of a system, right? You cannot pick and choose. It's part of a system. For example, the non-starchy vegetables are going to cause a wonderful alkaline environment in your body, whereas the protein is going to cause a bit more of an acidic environment in your body. And if you just did the protein, you would have too much of an acidic environment in your body. And if you just did the vegetables, you would not preserve the lean tissue in your body. You would also thwart your metabolism, blah, 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 blah. You'd also probably not enjoy your life as much as you would if you ate more protein. So, do them together. It's not a high-protein diet. However, joint pain is bad. You should probably talk to someone like Dr. Kathy. Kathy, what do you think?
Yeah, well, obviously, joint pain can be caused by a whole bunch of different things. And a general medical evaluation can help determine whether there's a specific cause for the pain. For example, if you've got gout, if you've got a tendency toward gout, and you decide that your non-starchy vegetable is going to be asparagus, which has a lot of uric acid in it, and you're going to eat lots and lots of liver, which Jonathan loves, well, that could precipitate a gouty attack. So you need to know.
And you're not big into water. You're like, I'm not going to drink a lot of water.
And green tea
and
good stuff. So some of those things can cause joint pain. So your doc should check out things like that. But if it's non-specific, I think there are some things in your diet which can decrease inflammation. And particularly the diet that were the Super SANE diet that is jam-packed with omega-3 fatty acids is going to be superb for you for joint things. Processed seeds and seed oils and some nuts, very high in omega-6, which may likely be pro-inflammatory. So you want to stay away from, but we don't want you to eat canola oil anyway.
Yep.
So that's something that's important. Again, grain-fed red meats may have a pro-inflammatory effect, but we don't generally recommend that you're going to be eating a lot of grain-fed red meats. It's really not very sane. And for some people, they will tend to get inflammation from eating nightshade family plants, like tomatoes, potatoes, and peppers. Those are really the only three. So if, you could try eliminating those.
Yep.
See what it does. See whether it makes you better. If it doesn't, then it's not those. The next step is looking at dairy and eggs. And some people, dairy and eggs will cause them to have more joint pain. For others, it's no. For most, the greatest majority of the people, dairy and eggs are just fine. So that's a much lower priority. I would think that really the omega-6 fats are the highest priority in the diet. And then again, adding as much omega-3 containing fish and vegetables as possible is going to be a really, really high priority. And a little bit of dark chocolate is good too.
And the other, just Kathy, you mentioned this, but I'll just shine a light on it, is when we talk about omega-6 versus omega-3, it's the ratio. So if you were to eat a lot of omega-3s, like you're eating sardines, you're eating salmon, you're eating a lot of good stuff there, you're eating a lot of grass-fed meats, you're going to be eating so much omega-3 that if you are also enjoying some nuts, you might be okay, because again, the seed, it's the ratio there. And then, well, Kathy, I see it's in your notes there that I have something to say about that, but you can say it first since you wrote it down first.
Well, some people have gotten some good effect from supplements that have glucosamine and chondroitin sulfate and MSM. Others find them quite useless.
So I will just give a personal anecdote here. I have no research. This is total personal anecdote. I have no ACL, nor do I have the left meniscal disc in my left knee. I've blown that knee out 3 times and I didn't get the 3rd surgery. So I have a torn ACL, and I have no ACL, and it's been that way for like 7 or 10 years now. I don't know, a long time. And the meniscus was so damaged that they removed it. So I have this giant calcium deposit on my knee, which I will now show the wonderful people in the room with me. See that giant protrusion there?
Oh, yeah.
See? So that's just because my joints are... Anyway, the point is, don't play high school sports. No, I'm just kidding. no, the point is, I have actually taken glucosamine chondroitin for over 10 years, and I was convinced for a while that I was like, this is total placebo effect. Like, this is stupid. Like, I was convinced not going to take glucosamine chondroitin. I went off it, and then I realized, like, I was like, my knee is freaking killing me. And but to be clear, like, I went into going off of it as, like, this is a total sham. Like, I did not expect, I was actually expecting there to be no problem. So, I mean, it could have been the placebo effect. It totally could have been. It's a very effective placebo. My personal experience for my injury is, it's been almost kind of like a miracle for me. That's just for me. I don't sell glucosamine chondroitin. It's not even in the SANE store. Just for me personally, it's been incredibly helpful.
I have the same story. Because I type a lot, I started getting a lot of joint pain in my fingers, and of course because I do a lot of cooking and detail work. Yeah. So, but maybe 2 weeks after I started taking glucosamine, I've had no joint pain in my fingers ever since. So it's worked really well for me too. And
let me give one, and Kathy's like, oh, that's stupid. No,
no. Because true confession time, Dr. Kathy takes it too.
Look at that. The glucosamine chondroitin firms out there are like, woohoo! 3 for 3.
And not only do I take it, but I give it to my aging border collies.
Well, and here's a tip too, because it's actually not cheap. Here's how I buy it, and this will show. I mean, I'm sure this isn't the best source of glucosamine chondroitin. There's probably better sources, but it works for me. Here's the trick. Drugstores, Bartell's, Walgreens, CVS, whatever the local one is, at least once a month will have these for buy one, get one free. Mm-hmm. So I always wait until they have that special, and then I buy my 240 count, take 2 pills a day, and I literally buy out the store because it's buy one, get one free. Literally, like, if you don't buy it, buy one, get one free, it's pretty expensive. It's like, almost $1 a day. So
that's cheaper than Costco.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, even like I actually don't go to Costco, and I don't even use the internet, which I love, both Costco and the internet. I actually use like CVS, Bartell's, but I only do it, wait till buy one, get one free. They'll have 25% off. They'll have buy one, 50% off. Wait for it. Buy one, get one free.
And then buy a ton, so that you have enough to last until the next time they have the buy one, get one.
Exactly.
If you look at the research papers and if you look at the science, there isn't a lot of good evidence that it works. But 3 independent...
3 out of 3 Smarter Science of Slim hosts say yes.
I think it helps me.
I know it helps me. I have no joint pain in my fingers.
I am going to go private label some glucosamine chondroitin right now. No, I'm just kidding. Now we can pay for this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. So.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well,
I have a question.
Yes.
I just made it up, but I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Yes, of
course.
No,
you have to type it in the support group
first. Please do.
Sleeping. I have found that if I do not eat protein close to bedtime, I wake up in the middle of the night.
Same thing.
Is that? Am I just like making that up, or Dr. Kathy? Is there something to that? And I actually had someone on my on my site, on my blog, asking the same thing, saying they wake up. Is there something they can do to keep them asleep? And I want to say, for me, protein. Is there any kind of basis for me actually saying that?
Yes, there is, actually. Do you want to talk about ghrelin?
Go ahead.
Well, ghrelin is one of the hormones that your stomach produces when you're hungry. And it also is a significant, it significantly arouses you and increases your learning and all kinds of interesting things. So when you're hungry, what ghrelin does is it says, hey, wake up, hey, you better start looking for some food and get a little alert here in case a bunny hops by so you can grab it and eat it. And
it's the opposite of food coma.
It's the opposite of food coma. And so it's an adaptive thing, actually, that nature makes us wake up when we're hungry and be more alert so that we can catch any critter that's walking by.
But it's not, for me, it's not just not being hungry, it's the protein.
The protein
will keep me asleep.
Will keep our blood sugar up and keep us from, keeps the stomach from...
Well, it is, it is without question the most satiating of the three macronutrients. So when we talk about causing the response in the brain that would blunt the production of ghrelin, protein is the macronutrient most responsible for that. So, and I'm similar. People say don't eat late at night. If I don't eat late at night, I'm not sleeping. Sorry, and
you have to sleep because that throws hormones
absolutely
out of whack.
Well, and this whole don't eat late at night is mythology, right? Like, it's the concept of, well, you're sleeping, so you're going to burn less calories, so, like, your body's stupid in some way. Wait, no, if you eat later, that means you didn't eat earlier, so you consume the same number of calories, and you'll just burn it the next day if you did. Like, it doesn't, there's no, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, stay sane, and if whatever you're doing isn't enabling you to sleep, stop that right away, because that's going to do all kinds of crazy things with cortisol and thyroid, and that's going to derail everything. So make sure you're sleeping.
So, Laurie, if you're listening to this, try eating protein before you go to bed and see if that helps keep you asleep.
And you know what helps me before I go to bed is, so my chocolate craving, my sweet tooth, is at night so strong, so strong. So I always make one of my chocolate fudgy SANE things. If I don't eat that, hard time sleeping, wake up in the middle of the night, da-da-da-da. If I eat it, baby, out for the night.
But that has a lot of protein in, right? Your fudgy.
Well, yeah, it's not just the and it's always as dessert, SANE dessert after a big SANE meal. But I need that. Like, otherwise I'm laying in bed, I'm kind of preoccupied because I'm not satisfied. Like, I can't. My body's not willing to kind of let go. It's not like I'm good. Food coma. But that's me.
Good. Thank you.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Woohoo! That's all we got. That's all we got, folks.
That's all. That's all.
Well, thank you again for joining us. And Dr. Kathy, thank you so much. 3 podcasts with Dr. Kathy. I love it.
Thank you for having me here. And thank you from the members of the Smarter Science of Slim support group who are having a wonderful time and who really appreciate everyone's input.
And thank you so much, again, to the members of the Smarter Science of Slim support group. If we look at the statistics on usage, me having to step away to work on some other stuff, I was so hopeful that it wouldn't cause negative ripples, and it hasn't. And thank you so much for that. And also, I want to say a double thank you, because we talked a little bit about the new book. Like, when the new book hits, we're going to see some more people coming into the support group. And I really appreciate everyone's, just to give folks a quick, like, we could talk about that in another podcast, but, like, it's going to be, the level of distribution is going to be dramatically higher for the new book. So, like, the fact that we're building this amazing base of support and this amazing base of experts out there, I mean, pretty soon Dr. Kathy's going to be famous because hopefully we can build this into a big enough community where, you know, pretty soon Dr. Kathy, Moose George, Popcorn, Slow Boat 42. I'm doing all this from memory. I'm so sorry if I forget. Who am I forgetting? That are just like, there's lots.
Everyone.
Everyone.
And Boona, Tina.
Yeah.
everybody is pitching in, and when somebody new comes in and has a question, there are so many great answers.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful. We've got tens of experts, and hundreds actually of experts out there who are so generous with their time and expertise.
And we are going to keep. I mean, I just want everyone to know that we are doing a ridiculous amount, both with our time and our money, and I'm sure it will pay off to make this community, like a year from now and 2 years from now. I think people are going to be pretty amazed at what we can do and what we can accomplish together. So I really appreciate the groundwork that we're laying now. It's awesome, and I think we're going to look back and we're going to be smiling. So
we love you.
Woohoo! Thank you, support group.
You. Yes.
All right, and remember, eat more and exercise less, but do it smarter.
Yes.
We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Wait, don't stop listening yet. If you like the podcast and if there's other ways we can help you, please join us in the Smarter Science of Slim support group, which is freely available at the Smarter Science of Slim website, smarterscienceofslim.com. There you'll find all kinds of free recipes and success stories and just all kinds of fun stuff, like how to help your kids go sane and just great community content.
And just one last thing before you go, if you wouldn't mind heading over to iTunes and up onto Amazon.com and leaving us a review, and then going over to Facebook and liking us, we would hugely appreciate it.